I can't believe I'm actually writing this, 32-year-old guy here. 2 weeks ago, it was supposed to be our 5th wedding anniversary. Now, I'm holed up in a hotel trying to figure out what the heck to do with myself. Rachel, my wife, she's 31. We met in college. We weren't those head over heels, can't get enough of each other types. More like buddies who fell in love. We were solid, comfy, with enough excitement to keep things going. Or so I thought. The night before our anniversary, we were at home having dinner. I'd made her favorite pasta and popped open a nice bottle of wine that I'd been saving for a while to surprise her with a weekend getaway to a mountain resort that I was going to give her the next morning. She took a sip of her wine and then said, "I've been thinking about what I want for our anniversary." I smiled and said, "Oh yeah. Well, I might have something planned too." She leaned in and said, "I want to sleep with someone else." Just once. I thought she was kidding and I even chuckled a little, but her face was totally serious. "You're not joking, are you?" I asked. "Nope." She said, "Look, I've been thinking about this. We've only ever been with each other and I want to know what it's like just that one time." I put down my fork. "You want to cheat on me as an anniversary present?" "It's not cheating if you know about it," she said like it was the most normal thing in the world. "Just one night, one experience, and then we go back to how things were?" I asked. "Someone, you know." She was quiet for a moment. "Mark from work, we'd been chatting and you know she had too." My stomach just sank. Sleep together, not exactly. There's definitely a spark between us. I'd been up front with him about being married. Somehow that made it okay. I pushed my plate away. "You already did it. No way, I wouldn't do that to you. That's why I'm even asking." I was just sitting there trying to wrap my head around 5 years of being married, and this is how she wants to celebrate. "I get it, it's a lot," she said, reaching for my hand. I pulled away. "But I've read about couples who try this, you know. It can actually make you stronger. You want me to stay home while you go sleep with this other dude? You could do the same thing if you wanted to," she offered like it was some kind of favor. "Find someone for a night." I just stared at her, speechless. "That's totally not what I want at all. Just think about it," she said. "It's just sex. It's not a big deal, and I'd come right back to you afterwards. I needed to get out of there." I walked around the block for a whole hour, my head just spinning. When I got back, she was still there, waiting on the couch. "I've thought about it," I said, "and I just can't do it. If that's what you need, then maybe we're not on the same page." She looked bummed. "You're making a big deal out of nothing. It's just a one-time thing. At least I'm telling you instead of doing it behind your back. Doesn't that mean anything? The fact that you even want to is the problem." "So is that a no?" she asked. "Yeah, it's a no." She sighed, like really dramatically. "Fine, but I think you're trying to control me. It's my body." I lay in that guest room all night, staring at the ceiling until the sun came up. By the time morning rolled around, I knew I had to get out. While she was showering, I quietly threw some clothes and important stuff into 2 suitcases. I left the anniversary envelope on the bed. Inside was the reservation for that resort and a note that just said, "The gift's yours, take whoever you want." I walked out, suitcases in hand, called a buddy of mine, and crashed on his couch. I shut my phone off for the rest of the day. When I finally turned it back on the next morning, there were 47 missed calls, not a single one from Rachel. They were all from her brother, Kevin, who just so happens to be a lawyer. Plus, like a dozen texts accusing me of abandoning her, threatening to take me to the cleaners, saying I was just trying to act cool by hanging out with my ex. Saying I had no right to just leave. That was 2 weeks ago. Now I'm living in one of those extended stay hotels. Rachel's completely lost it. She's saying I emotionally abused her by leaving, telling all our friends I'm controlling because I wouldn't let her, explore her sexuality. Meanwhile, she's already changed her relationship status to "it's complicated" and tagged this guy Mark in 3 different posts. I've talked to my own lawyer now. Turns out, you can't claim abandonment after 24 hours just because your husband won't let you cheat. But this whole thing is about to explode. Update 1 week later. A lot happened this week. Rachel's brother, Kevin, actually showed up at my work, barged right into the office, demanding to talk some sense into me. My boss practically had to call security to get my team lead to go home. That night, Rachel texted, "You're being so dramatic. Just come home so we can actually talk this out like grown-ups." I didn't text back. The next day, I got screenshots from a friend we had in common. Rachel was telling everyone that I'd freaked out and left her with all the bills. Total garbage. We kept our money separate, except for the one joint account for the house, which I was still paying into. Then things got even worse. I got home from work, and Rachel was sitting in the hotel lobby. She said, super loud so everyone at the front desk could hear, "You can't just disappear on your wife." I told her, "I'm not disappearing, I'm separating from you, especially after you asked to sleep with another guy for our anniversary." Even though I knew it was a bad idea, I agreed to talk with her in the hotel restaurant. Huge mistake. Rachel claimed Mark was just an example. She said she didn't specifically want him. She just wanted to experience something with someone I had mentioned by name, someone I had been talking to. She sighed and said, "Look, I've been talking to my therapist about this." I was shocked. "Since when do you have a therapist?" "For a few months now," she said. "She says it's healthy to admit your desires instead of holding them in." She rolled her eyes when I mentioned cheating. "Stop calling it cheating," she said. "It's ethical." Non-monogamy, which of course she just sprung on me after 5 years of marriage where we were only with each other. "People change," she said. "I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago." Yeah, no kidding. Then she started crying, not a quiet cry. It was full-blown public sobbing. They were all just staring at me. "How can you be so heartless?" she cried, her voice cracking. "I'm your wife." I just sat there, just watching it all play out. It felt like that's all I could do. "If you walk out now, don't even think about coming back," she yelled as I turned and left. The next day, Kevin, her lawyer, was saying I caused Rachel so much pain and offered a deal. I'd pay for 6 months of her therapy plus extra money. Then things took a weird turn. Rachel's parents called saying she told them I'd been emotionally checked out for months and ignored her trying to fix things. Her mom actually said, "We know about the affair you had last year, but we believe in forgiveness." An affair? I couldn't even speak. I never cheated on Rachel, not once. Never. "Mrs. Davis, I have no idea what you're talking about," I told her. "Rachel showed us the messages from your fling with that girl from the conference." I've never even been to a conference without Rachel. My lawyer said we needed to move fast with the divorce before she got her story out there. I started writing everything down and got my location history to prove I wasn't anywhere near this conference she's talking about. Update 2. 2 weeks later, I went back to our place to get more of my stuff. The door opened and half the furniture was gone. She left a note that said, "Taking what's mine." A plumber was there. As I was taking pictures, Mark showed up with a dolly, looking all awkward and uncomfortable, ready to take more things. "No way anyone would be here," Rachel claimed. "Bet she did," I shot back. "But this is still my place too, and you gotta go." He actually had the nerve to say that. Rachel said I deserted the place, so basically, get out now or I call the cops for breaking and entering. He left, but not before dropping a little something. "She told me you two were already split up when we got together. Just FYI. The next big news came from Rachel's best friend, Jenna. We met for coffee, and what she told me completely blew me away. Rachel's been seeing Mark for at least 3 months, she said. She claimed we had an open marriage deal. 3 months. She even showed me texts supposedly from me agreeing to it. Jenna kept going, but the text seemed off, not how I usually talk. When I questioned her, she got all defensive. Turns out Rachel had been spinning different yarns to different people. To some, I was controlling. To others, I was cheating. To her work buddies, we had an open marriage. All lies. Jenna showed me screenshots of Rachel's conversations with mutual friends where Rachel was strategizing her escape, figuring out what she could grab, and how to make me look like the bad guy. With all that intel, my lawyer filed for divorce, citing adultery. With Jenna's evidence, Rachel showed up at my parents' place during Sunday dinner and put on a tearful show about how worried she was about my mental health. My mom called me panicked. It took me a whole hour to even get across what was going on, the latest craziness, I mean. Rachel's now saying we had some kind of secret deal to have an open marriage, and that me saying no is like emotional abuse. Her brother's been calling my buddies, trying to get dirt on me, evidence of how controlling I am, apparently. One friend, Kevin, even sent me screenshots of Rachel's Instagram. Pictures of her and Mark all over each other with captions like, "Sometimes the right guy shows up at the wrong time, and no regrets." Kevin's take on it: "That doesn't prove anything, they're just friends." Then, bam, my lawyer gets a settlement offer from Kevin. They want the apartment, half my savings, even the money I had before we got married, and alimony. Because, get this, Rachel sacrificed her career to help mine. She's a marketing manager making only 10 grand less than me. There were no sacrifices whatsoever. So my lawyer fired back with a counteroffer. She gets what she brought into the marriage, I get mine, we split everything else down the middle, and she admits to the affair in writing. To avoid a messy, public divorce, her parents called. Turns out, Rachel finally fessed up to them about seeing Mark before we split. They apologized for believing her lies. Okay, final update 1 month later. It's been a month since Rachel asked for that anniversary gift. And honestly, I think this is it. This is the last I'm gonna say about it. So finally, Rachel and Kevin came around after my lawyer threatened to drag Rachel's phone records into court and make Mark testify. All of a sudden, they were totally willing to negotiate. We settled 50-50 on everything we got while we were married. No alimony, thank goodness. I got to keep my stuff from before we got hitched. Rachel got the apartment, I kept my car, and we each are responsible for our own debts. But the best part? Rachel had to admit in writing that she cheated on me. Kevin fought that like crazy, but my lawyer wouldn't budge. 2 days later, Rachel texted me, happy now. You ruined my reputation just to feed your ego. I didn't even bother to reply. Then came the aftermath. Her whole thing with Mark went completely south. From what I heard through friends, he dumped her last week. Seems like he wasn't looking for anything serious and freaked out when she started talking marriage. She's been all over social media ever since, posting cryptic stuff about toxic guys and knowing your worth. Her last post was something like, "Sometimes the universe does you a favor and gets rid of people. Leveling up. New chapter." The misspelling just made it that much more pathetic. Work's been super weird. My boss pulled me aside to make sure I was okay, saying Rachel's been telling everyone I have a serious anger problem. Luckily, anyone who actually knows me knows that's total BS. I've moved into my new place, got new furniture, and I'm starting over. It's a fresh start, a whole new life. Last night I ate with her folks. Her dad actually said, "We didn't teach her to act like this." Then her mom dropped the bomb that Rachel had a history of cheating. Before she had trouble sticking around, her mom confessed. It would have been great to know that before I popped the question, but oh well. The divorce will be done in a couple of months. My lawyer says it's been a pretty easy split, all things considered. After all the craziness, I signed up for the rock climbing gym. I got back in touch with old buddies and even started seeing someone again just for fun, nothing too serious. Last week, I found the anniversary gift envelope while I was moving stuff around. The resort booking was expired, untouched. I tossed it without a second thought. I still get angry sometimes. Not really because Rachel wanted to be with someone else, but about the total web of lies she spun, how she tried to mess with my head and turn my friends against me. The gall of thinking she deserved me and her affair partner. But most of all, I'm thankful. Thankful she showed her real colors before we had children. Thankful I found out sooner rather than later. Thankful I walked away with my head held high. Sometimes the best thing to do when things go to hell is simple. Grab your stuff, leave a message, and start over.